I don't think. I mean, then you have to look at marine relative to other market segments. I don't
Right.
think marine will ever be the most attractive of those segments. One of the things you don't need to you cannot forget is typically traditionally. I mean, this is now changed somewhat. Marine products were residual from refining processes, and effectively the having a marine business was only helping you to effectively making your supply chain more efficient.
Right.
So
Take
you would actually
that low-grade fuel oil from the refinery.
Absolutely. So you have to look at the integrated value of what represents. So, but in the context of you being present in the market, I think having a cheap product and pointing to one or two services that make you a unique, seamless operator are going to be the winning factors.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm wondering if you sort of who's your opinion? Because I think it's helpful when you think about services as being critical. When I look, I see Total having pretty strong services in marine. I'm wondering, who do you think has some of the best that service side in the marine sector?
So I would say, and I am privy to what Shell has been launching and doing on the last few years. I would not. So I would say that I don't see anybody stepping out of the pack in terms of these guys are great, these guys are way ahead. I think that you'll see Total and Shell moving probably in a similar direction, leveraging their presence and their capabilities and recognizing that that's what the market needs and what the market wants. So I mean, certainly from when I was there, I wouldn't have said that anybody had that fantastic service that made the complete difference. I would also say, though, I mean, services and technology and effectively being able to order your product when you are on the ship en route and giving that kind of flexibility, I think becomes very important now. The other thing you need to look is actually the ability to serve in many ports rather than in small ports. I mean, sometimes an investment. There, I don't think Shell was very aggressive traditionally. So that might have changed, but that did put us a bit at a disadvantage at not having a very let's use a word that is very common these days, and a very agile model, if you want, for having presence in a port where others could list God knows how many, but you never knew how they served them.
Right. That's helpful. So I'm wondering to circle back around to sort of R&D, and I guess what I'm trying to sort of do is, gain some insight into, lubricants is clearly, I've seen all the presentations that Shell has given when they talk about the downstream growth and what they want out of lubricants in terms of cash flow from operations. And I see sort of their overall, spending whatever it is, $900 million, $1 billion on R&D across the whole company. But, lubricants sort of, to me, seems like a pretty core business for the downstream and increasingly important for them. I'm trying to get a sense of how much of that $1 billion in terms of R&D is allocated towards lubricants. Like, I'm just trying to get some figures in terms of where do those, what really is the investment that it takes to be a cutting-edge lubricant company in terms of developing and deploying new technologies on a year-in, year-out basis.
So a couple of things that you said. I mean, different people will have different views on how core a lubricant business is in the context of downstream. My personal experience has been that those synergies typically are fairly limited. One could point at having your own branded lubricants on retail stations, but that's not big business, and it's kind of traditionally it has been, other than in certain markets like the US where you got the big lube chain channels and etc. That typically is kind of you go and buy because there is a red light on your screen if you want, so you need to change urgently. Now, I mean, there are some manufacturing overlaps, of course. And traditionally, you have effectively Basel sitting with the lubricants organization, whereby these days a lot of the stuff has been moved back into a kind of manufacturing, including refining piece. So what is left core to lubricants is typically blending and the marketing side. I mean, the people like BP never really had the Basels in there. They all purchased all of them. So it's already a fairly different model. So I don't think that the strategic synergistic nature of the business is driving necessarily. I mean, this is why I'm saying this. Is necessarily driving the investment that is made into the lubricants technology per se.
Okay.
So I would look at this more as a standalone economic business sense. Does it make sense to invest in the context of the returns that this can provide? Lubricants is a strong margin business, traditionally has been, and for players that actually can drive well the curve or the ups and downs of oil price and Basels, which then ultimately affect the pricing, then typically it's a profitable business and it's an increasingly profitable business. So you'll find that the returns on that business tend to be pretty high. So it would actually justify, from a pure economics, a higher investment than others in the context.
And what is the ballpark for that R&D investment, if you're comfortable with sharing?
To be honest, I mean, I should know that because I was responsible for it. I mean, I don't think I want to share too much of the detail, but I think if you take $1 billion as a reference, I would say you would be looking at less 10-15% of that.
Okay, that's helpful. Max, I want to be cognizant of reaching the top of the hour. This has been an incredibly helpful and illuminating conversation. I wanted to see, as we go about our research again, would it be okay if we reached out to you to have another conversation in the new year via Guide Point? Because this has been really helpful, and I really value your time and opinions here today.
Absolutely. Happy to help, guys.
Great. Well, thanks so much, and hope you have a wonderful holiday season, and look forward to connecting again in the future.
Perfect. You too, guys. Enjoy.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.